Hey guys, what's up? This is Mel, and I am here to talk about Sailor Moon Crystal again. 2 episodes again, and that is, I guess, Act 37 or Episode 311, entitled Infinity 10 Infinite Upper Atmosphere, which was released Monday, June 13th, 2016, as well as Act 38 or Episode 312, titled Infinity 11 Infinite Judge, which was released Monday, June 20th, 2016. And guys, oh my gosh, it's let's just get right into it. Let's start with the 20-minute clock and let's just begin. And for the record, I saw both of these episodes back to back. Really, it's only been the next day since I watched both Infinity 8 and 9, so I'm going right after each other and recording in between every two. So right into it. What happened in Infinity 10 was that we got to see the struggle between Mistress 9 and Hotaru. Mistress 9 is still in control of Hotaru's body, but Hotaru is still inside of her. So, that episode, we see Hotaru sacrificing herself to save Chibiusa and the souls of the other 4 inner guardians. By doing that, though, previously Hotaru was staying inside of her body to stop Mistress 9 from destroying it. But once Hotaru left that body to give the souls back to their respective guardians, that freed Mistress 9 to tear the body apart. And when the body was torn apart, Hotaru had nothing to hold on to. Therefore, her soul had to be shredded and moved forward, I guess you could say. So because of that, we got to see a brief reunion between Chibiusa and Hotaru before Hotaru's soul was ripped to shreds because of Mistress 9. And we got a very tearful goodbye between the two, and how they were saying how they believe in their hearts that they were destined to be to meet together, to become friends, and to the point that they had grown to love each other. And yet they had to be torn apart and they had to say their goodbyes, and it really was a very emotional piece. I'll get back to it later though. But also, we also learned in this episode that Master Pharaoh 90 plans to make the Earth his vessel, and he actually starts doing that in this episode, which forces the outer Sailor Guardians, that is Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, to form a barrier around the Mugen Academy triad, or triangle, I guess you can say, with their talismans, and form a barrier so that his influence doesn't spread over Earth. And I guess influence, you can call it that purple weird fog thingy going on, since he doesn't actually have a corporeal form yet. So we also see not only Super Sailor Moon appear again, but we also see the first time of Super Sailor Chibi Moon as she joins back in on the fight, and her strong desire to help fight and be as strong as Sailor Moon one day resulted in her own Holy Grail chalice to appear and get powered up like her, like Sailor Moon. Also, we see Tuxedo Mask joining in the fight as well shortly after. He comments on the fact that he felt more power within him after he thinks that he got it through Chibiusa and through Hotaru when Hotaru was passing Chibiusa's soul back to him, or back to her, and he was holding Chibiusa's hand at the time. So he thinks that's where his increase in power probably came from. Shortly after that, he transformed into Tuxedo Mask. I actually thought that he would, when he said he felt more power, I thought when he would transform, I thought he would turn into King Endymion, like that soldier form of his. But sadly not. But it was great to see him back in his own gear and joining the fight as well. So there's that. We also saw the return of Luna, Artemis, and Diana. I don't think we've seen them. I think the last time we saw them was when Chibiusa was declared to be under cardiac arrest, and I think that was it, because I remember seeing Diana crying over a small lady deteriorating body. But we actually saw them back at the command center and watching the whole thing from there. So there's that. Now moving on to Infinity 11, we see it picks up right off where number 10 ended off. We see Super Sailor Moon and Super Sailor Chibi Moon combining their power together to attack Mistress 9. Doesn't really do it, maybe weakens to a point, but eventually Mistress 9 merges with Master Pharaoh 90, so that Mistress 9's vessel, which was Hotaru's body, which is now the demonized version of Mistress 9, is now the corporeal form of Master Pharaoh 90, while he still has all that purple mist all around him as his own influence. Again, we see the all the Guardians try to weaken Master Pharaoh 90, but instead he weakens them to the point that he uses the power that they were going to use against him to break the barrier around him, which also weakens the outer Sailor Guardians. Because all the Guardians are so weak, aside from Super Sailor Moon, she takes the remaining power that was in the Holy Grail Chalice, and she sacrifices herself by diving into the abyss that is Master Pharaoh 90 in hopes of using all that power to overwhelm him from the inside and destroying him from there. However, doing that, though, causes Sailor Saturn to awaken as the talismans react and start resonating and start activating her awakening. Because of that, though, Sailor Saturn attacks the Tar Star system that has emerged in the sky above the Mugen Academy Triangle, and Saturn starts pulling Master Pharaoh 90 from the Earth that he's started to immerse himself in. So there's that. So the episode ends right when Sailor Saturn is about to swing her silent glaive, which is the scythe. And once she does that, it brings the annihilation of the planet she's on. So everyone is fearful of that. So moving on to most shocking moment of the episode. Definitely has to be the true form of Mistress 9. I guess her Daemon form. It was a purple figure with these white spikes sticking out. And so we got to see that. Don't remember that happening in the classics, but definitely really shows her true alien nature from that. And then we also, what was shocking was Hotaro's sacrifice. It wasn't the sacrifice that was surprising, it's just how in depth we got to see that. And I'll get right into it right now. So top 3 favorite moments. Moving on straight to Infinity 10. Hotaro's inner struggle and realization. It was such a surprise to me how in depth we got into Hotaro's psyche when she's essentially just a soul fragment inside of her former body, and we basically see her desire to protect not only Chibiusa's soul and the crystal, but all the guardian souls as well, and her realization that even though she's just a soul, therefore technically dead, because she has no body anymore, then yet she still has this desire to save them. And then she brings up the fact that she feels this other being inside of her telling her to protect those souls in that crystal with all the power that she has. And then because of that, she decides to leave her body because she was staying to stop Mistress 9 from fully emerging. So when she left her body, she truly knew that at any moment her body would be destroyed, therefore her existence would be destroyed as well. So it was really surprising just how fully fleshed out her fight was within Mistress 9, her fight with figuring out where her place was and what power she had that she was going to use to benefit her dear friends, and then just to have the way things ended for her. I wasn't expecting that. I vaguely remember how it went in classics, but it definitely did not bring this much of I don't think it happened exactly this way or this emotional as it was. And I'll go right into the next one, and is the fact that the goodbye between Hotaro and Chibiusa, that was so heartbreaking. It was beautifully done. It was truly in this raw moment between the two of them where Hotaro pretty much sacrificed herself to save Chibiusa and make sure that she remained pure and present. She also, before she disappeared and dissolved, Hotaro got to tell Chibiusa that in the end she truly thought that they were destined to meet, destined to be friends, and in the end she said that she really did love her, and that it was just so sad. And even Chibiusa said, how could her fate be so sad after she had disappeared? It was very moving, very powerful. It was so sad to see that goodbye between those two, because it was a friendship that was just starting to bloom, and the fact that it got cut off so soon, it was heartbreaking to watch for sure. Definitely got my eyes a little watery there, and I definitely don't remember that type of goodbye in the classics. So it's my favorite because of the reaction it got out of me, that's for sure. And then the third favorite moment I had in this episode for Infinity 10 was the emergence of Super Sailor Chibi Moon. I don't think she didn't appear in the classics until I believe season 4. So the fact that she came out in season 3 like this was surprising. it definitely fits, and I definitely liked it. But I was definitely surprised to see that it had happened as soon as it did. So there's that. And moving on to favorite moments from Infinity 11. It shouldn't be my favorite, but it definitely is. It's the reactions we get from Tuxedo Mask, Sailor Chibi Moon, or Super Sailor Chibi Moon, and Sailor Uranus. Those three reactions to Super Sailor Moon's descent into Master Pharaoh 90, to where they believe is her plummet to her death. Their reactions were just fantastic. I should not like them, but the fact that with their reaction we got to see Tuxedo Mask's reaction, him grieving over the fact that his true love has fallen or has sacrificed herself, and he wasn't there to save her, he wasn't there to protect her, and the fact that she had to do it alone is something he truly regrets. And you see him reacting like that. Chibi uses reaction as Super Sailor Chibi Moon. She first reacts as a guardian, and then she reacts as a daughter. She even calls out cryfully "Mom" when she fully realizes that Super Sailor Moon has pretty much gone to her death. And then Sailor Uranus. Sailor Uranus's reaction has probably my favorite one, because you see her remembering all the key points she has had with Sailor Moon and as Usagi. You see how when they first officially met as Usagi and Haruka, how the moment where Usagi confronted Haruka about being Sailor Uranus, and then the moment where Sailor Moon rushed into Sailor Uranus's arms after they defeated Witches 5 for the second time, and then you hearing Uranus's thoughts on how all she wanted to do was to protect Sailor Moon, and how that's all she ever wanted to do. And just to see those thoughts, to see that montage with Uranus and Sailor Moon, like I said before, I love that pairing together. Even though I love Uranus and Neptune together and Usagi and Mamoru together, I still love Sailor Moon and Sailor Uranus, Usagi and Haruka together when they have this type of connection between them. And just to see these reactions, because sometimes those are the only times you actually truly see what a person truly meant to them. And I liked it. I shouldn't, but I definitely liked that reaction. And even though I know that Sailor Moon survives somehow, but the fact that we got to see these reactions was just great. Because if Sailor Moon didn't survive after all this, then that would be really heartbreaking to see these reactions, because their story ends with them for that. Next favorite moment has to be all the combined power attacks we got to see used against Mistress 9 as well as against Master Pharaoh 90. It was great to see all the power-ups. It's great to see all the different combinations being used. Like I said before in the previous video that I did, that I like the combination attacks. I like that we get to see an extended version of a fight instead of just one attack and they're dead. I mean, that doesn't really showcase what they can truly do in a battle, because a part of the battle is acting and then reacting to what your enemy has to throw at you. So it was great to see that we got to see their reaction to being deflected, and then seeing how they counteract that, or how they strategize to win in the next attack. So there's that. And another favorite moment has to be Sailor Saturn's awakening. It's definitely surprising how it happened. I definitely liked how it was done, aesthetically and just story-wise, how it was done. How after that we got a bit of an understanding of why she had awakened, or how she was never supposed to be reawakened within the lifetime that was Hotaru, saying that Hotaru was meant to die in that fire accident. She was never supposed to be reborn as a cyborg, and because of that, that is what stirred Saturn within her, when Saturn was supposed to lay dormant, as Hotaru had eternal rest after that fire incident. So it was just great to see Saturn's spin on how things were supposed to be, and then how it got twisted because of the interference of the alien life forms that came with Master Pharaoh 90. So there's that. Top 3 peeved moments. Let's move right along. Sorry, I actually have a few. For Infinity 10, when we see not only Mistress 9 still in Hotaru's body, you see the weird opposite rolling eyes, the distorted features, and then to see her transform into her Daemon version self, it just creeped me out. It was terrifying. It was also creepy just to see the human version of her being distorted in the way that it was. I know it's still an animation, but that still creeps me out. So that's only P because of the fact that it really raised terrifying goosebumps on my arm. So there's that. From Infinity 11 though, When Super Sailor Moon and Super Sailor Chibi Moon attacked Mistress 9, I was very disappointed that none of the other Guardians didn't add their own attacks to him. Yes, we saw it later on when they all took on Master Pharaoh 90 before he weakened them, but I thought when they took on Mistress 9 and if that double rainbow attack that they did wasn't enough, I thought Mercury, Mars, Venus, and Jupiter were going to throw their additional attacks in to strengthen the attack, but the fact that they didn't really disappointed me. I thought it would be something like what happened in the first Sailor Moon Classic movie, all the way back then. I think it was Promise of the Rose or something like that. I'll put the real title up on the screen there, but I thought it'd be something like that, where they all came together despite that she was already in her Super Sailor form and lending their power, but it was just disappointed they didn't chip in and they just expected, oh, she's in her super form, she can take it from here with her own powered up level. It's like, no, you could have stepped in, you could have added on and kind of alleviate the stress that she already had in her super form. And also, last peeved moment, I did mention it before when I had thought that Mamoru was going to transform into King Endymion when he felt that increase in power surge, but instead he only went back into being Tuxedo Mask. Peeve is the fact that we didn't get to see King Endymion. I truly thought that if anything with this final battle, we would see King Endymion popping up. We would see Princess Serenity or Neo Queen Serenity popping out, especially when they reach a certain power level. But the fact that we didn't get to see that was a little disappointing, especially when he specifically mentioned that he felt this increase in power within him. I mean, he didn't have to mention that. He could have just transformed into Tuxedo Mask and then went on his way. But the fact that he specifically mentioned it and analyzed where and why he got that power, and then to not transform into an upgraded version of his warrior suit, I guess you could say, was a little disappointing. When he transformed, I kind of hoped to see the King Endymion suit or the Prince Endymion suit, and yeah, we just got the Tuxedo mask, so there's that. Moving on though, what moment I remember most when I look back on these two episodes has to be all the sacrifices, for sure. Definitely the massive battle between Mistress 9 and also that was happening with Master Pharaoh 90 and all the power attacks that were thrown at him, and also the reactions to those sacrifices as well. So moving on very quickly, again, random questions. It's only 2 of them, but first one, do you think that any of the Sailor Scouts or Sailor Guardians, even realize that if Sailor Moon was truly dead, then they would immediately see Sailor Chibi Moon fade away before their eyes? Because again, Sailor Chibi Moon or Chibiusa is from the future. So if anything were to truly happen to either Usagi or Mamoru, if anything were to permanently happen to them that would prevent them from siring Chibiusa, then Chibiusa, like their death, then Chibiusa would cease to exist in the future. Therefore, she would disappear before their eyes. But the fact that that hasn't happened yet, do you think it has even occurred to them that maybe there's a possibility that Sailor Moon is still alive? I mean, pretty sure we saw that happening before, unless I'm going back to what happened in the classic where a moment like that happened. But yeah, do you think any of them even realize that? So that's one question. If you have an answer for that, let me know in the comments down below. But the second question, was Sailor Saturn the only triggered to awaken because of the fact that Super Sailor Moon dived in Master Pharaoh 90 and swarmed Saturn's vessel that was also being controlled by Mistress 9 and Master Pharaoh 90, and that power from the legendary Silver Crystal from all the other 9 Guardians around that vessel is what caused the first stage of Sailor Saturn to be awakened, and then causing the talismans to resonate, allowing for the next phase of her awakening to happen. I'm wondering if that was the case, because I'm wondering why was it that moment that Saturn needed to be reawakened? Why not reawaken before? Why not we reawaken later on? So there's that. Also, I forgot to mention, a little comment that Sailor Saturn made that I really liked was the fact that she commented on the fact that she seems to always be the unwanted guest, and she said it with like a little smiling smirk. And while it's funny to say that in the moment, due to the dire consequences they're all in, or the situation they're all in, it was kind of sad that she always is the uninvited guest, and she is the goddess of death. So it's just something to point out. But moving on to predictions very quickly. I'm not going to predict. I'm just going to comment on the preview that was shown for Infinity 12, and that was that we see Sailor Saturn finishing off her path of destruction, and also it seems that we're going to see Super Sailor Moon again. So there's that. So she's not truly dead, or it's a figment of her that we're going to see, but that is what the next act is going to be. I'm not going to truly predict what's going to happen because of the fact that this next episode is already out there and released, so for all I know, I could have seen a spoiler and not even realized it. So with that said, and 5 seconds left on the clock, don't forget to comment about your own thoughts, theories, opinions about these 2 episodes. I'd love to hear about it. There's the timer. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, check my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. Link for that is down below, for a link that has all Sailor Moon Classic and Crystal links that always popped up on my dashboard that I reblog. Check that out. I'm really behind on updating my Tumblr page. I had a few little problems a few days ago, but I will get to it. But follow me there if you truly want. Hopefully I'll get back to that very soon. But aside from that, thank you all for tuning in, and thank you for your patience. And I hope you come back next time to see what I have to say about the next episode. I think it's only 1 more left. And I'm going to go watch that right now. So until then, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week, wherever you are. Bye for now.